In this video, we will be going over ratios in MotiveWave. Now, MotiveWave provides many different options for identifying time and price ratios. Fibonacci ratios are perhaps the most commonly used ratios for analysis, and available components for Fibonacci analysis can be found under the Fibonacci tab of the Components panel. Now, please note, depending what version of MotiveWave you have, this may not be available to you. So let's show an example here. Let's place the retrace component, and let's select our low and our high. Now you notice here we have yellow resized points, and what that allows, this can be used to change the position of the labels and the length of the ratio lines. So as we drag to the right, the ratio lines become longer, and as we drag to the left, they become shorter, thus affecting the position of the labels. Now, MotiveWave provides a lot of flexibility for working with ratios. If you'd like to modify the ratio properties for a particular component, then you can either right-click on any of the ratios and then select Ratio Settings, and this brings up the Properties dialog, or you can simply just double-click. Now, we'll be going over these options in a separate video, but I just want to show you how we can bring up the Properties dialog. Now, by right-clicking on any of the ratios, you're presented with a menu, and you have some options here. So if I wanted to remove this specific ratio here, I can click Remove Ratio. Again, with the ratio settings, we're bringing up the Properties dialog for that component. We have some presets that come with MotiveWave. So in this case, if I wanted to make them red, I can make them red. Or if I wanted to make them alternate color, for example, I can alternate color. Now we can create our own presets, and that will be in a separate video. We also have preferences here. We have the option of showing labels. So if we turn that off, we no longer have the labels. If we right click, turn the labels back on, we can also show a ratio fill. So that fills the space in between ratios. Show the source line, which is basically this line here. You'll notice now that it's dashed. If I click away from the component, deselecting it, it's no longer available. So let's go back. Let's show the source line. We can show the ratio price. You'll notice here beside the ratio, there's a ratio price. So if we uncheck that, the price is no longer visible. If we right click, we can extend the ratio lines both left and right. It's left and right. Now let's just take that off. It's a bit distracting. Okay, so let's take a look at a line. Preferences. We have a line here. Right now the labels are to the right. We can have them either to the middle, or we can have them to the left. So let's put these back to the right. And then the last option we have here is the ratio origin. We have start, line, and end. So if we go start, you'll notice here that the lines will start right with the first origin point here at the bottom, this green little node here. If we right click, line, it will conform to the diagonal line. If we right click here and then select end, you'll notice that it lines up with the end node found here at the top. Now you'll notice this right menu here will be available for most, if not all, of these Fibonacci based components. And if we bring up another example here, let's just take this one out. Okay, let's select here. Let's try this one here, range. We'll select roughly there for a high, low. We'll make the box bigger. And now if I right click here, you'll notice I have that same menu here. Let's say, for example, I wanted these ones to be green. I can then select green. Okay, so that's it for this video, and we'll see you in the next.